Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Thursday weekly Catalyst meditation. And as you know, in the weekly meditation, I do a preamble, a pre-talk before the meditation. And the title for this one is "Do you know where you're going?" And also the subtitle, "Do you care?" Um, I want to I get a lot of things either by scanning the internet or by people giving me things about um, going to a new society, heading to a new society. And um, almost always those things are occupying a territory. Uh, the territory that almost all of them occupy is things have to change. Um, the websites and the videos that say things don't need to change, people don't send those to me. They know it's a waste of time. Um, but the ones where people are say things have to change, I'd say most of them, let's say 80% of them, know that something is fundamentally, and I won't say wrong, something is fundamentally wrong in terms of us getting to a future that actually works. I'm going to put a period right there. Not only it doesn't work for all, it doesn't work for anybody. I say this in my talks that our society doesn't even work for the people it purports to work for. um, we look at how things go. We look at the world, a world of winners and losers. And if you actually listen to some of the so-called winners, they will tell you, we're not winning. We can't win this way. Um, let's say you're at a football game and the uh, at the half time of the game, there are people who lock the opposing team in their locker room, and and they when the game starts, the other team comes out and they start running plays against a non-existent team. And they start scoring massive. The score goes up to into the hundreds, maybe the thousands, and all the that team's fans are going wild. But there's something wrong with the game, and so some of the folks on that team are saying, playing under these circumstances doesn't work for us. If you want to play a game, not just run up things on a score. Well, that pretty much defines our financial situation. Those who know how to score are the ones who own the entire system. And when you start seeing their numbers go into the astronomical um, range that they're in, you know that there's something wrong. In every city where there are millionaires, in that, whatever the city is, in that city, you've got people homeless and living on the streets. Why is that? It's because the way that money is structured, the folks who already have it get more and more and more of it, and the folks who don't have it don't even know how to play the game. In fact, they're not even told the rules of the game. They're not even told that they're in the game. And so uh, this situation is unstable. And I'm just using economics as an example. I can use it in any way, shape, or form. Um, having a military that is bigger than the next 15 militaries combined. Um, at some point in time, someone should say, um, this doesn't make any sense. And oh, you can't talk right now because we have to build our military bigger. We're in a we're being threatened by those people over there. I can't find any people who can threaten them, but we're still threatened by those people over there. Um, we need faster jets to blow up fishing boats um, that don't have any guns on them. Lots of fish, though. So our challenge is uh, how do we change the game? How do we change the society in such a way that there really is um, a fair game? Um, so our challenge, so knowing that that is our challenge, we set sail, but we're setting sail not knowing where we're going. And that reminds me of the situation with Christopher Columbus, who had a vague idea that he wanted to go to India. And the way he was going to do it was by going, instead of going east from Europe, you go to Spain and you make a left turn. That he was going to go the other way. He's going to go west. And I'm sorry, the other way around. um, I don't know my right from my left, and I don't know my east from my west. Um, and he wound up there, but just he wound up somewhere where he wound up was actually fairly interesting, but was not where he intended to be. And where he wound up was um, proved his theory was correct, but off by, let's say, half a hemisphere. Um, and that's because he was guessing. When you look at another group, though, the other group, and we have referred to them as the Polynesian navigators or the wayfinders because they're not navigating the way that we think of the term navigation. I researched and found that there are um, terms for them. And I cannot pronounce the terms. I was going to put them up on the screen and let you pronounce the terms, but I ran out of time this morning. Um, these are Polynesian terms, and I will do that at um, uh, a subsequent video, and I may actually do it in this video, but in post-production. So you'll have to watch the video to see if I do that or not. But the Polynesian navigators had a very different way of getting from one island in the Pacific to another island. And what they did was consulted what I call the five latent powers that they have, and this is what I received when I was in the Himalayas in a cave meditating on how did the ancient people do what they did? How were they able to achieve the feats that they achieved? How were you able to build something as massive and monumental as a pyramid? You didn't just go out and get some bricks and start stacking them on each other. You knew something that we don't know in this so-called technological world that we've got. Um, what I got in the cave was really simple, really profound. It's been 15 years or so since I was there, and I'm still trying to come to grips with it. That all of the knowledge is latent inside of each and every human. So from the very beginning, it was not space aliens. Um, Space aliens, if they exist, I happen to think they do, but it doesn't matter whether they do or not. They're living their own lives. They're doing their own thing. And just kind of sitting around messing in our lives is just simply not um, uh, helpful to anybody. Um, so, but the instruction that I got when I was sitting in the cave was that the energy to do all these things, the energy to build a pyramid, or the energy to navigate an ocean you've never set foot in, where your goal is on the opposite side of the horizon, that ability is latent inside of each and every one of us, period. Um, I have that. I was born with it. You have that. You were born with it. Our ability to do those things is latent and natural to us. And then came the kicker. The only thing is it cannot be awakened or acknowledged by a single being, by what I call a solon, a being who thinks that all of their consciousness is located inside of this body, inside of this head, inside the meat muscle that's inside your skull called the brain. That the only way it can be awakened is together. That it was not designed to be, consciousness was not designed to be locked inside of a skull, any skull. It's like right now, with your phone device, it is constantly emitting radio signals. It's constantly emitting radio frequencies. And okay, you can't see them, you can't feel them. I guess if you talked long enough on the phone, you could feel it. Um, but it doesn't mean they're not emitting these frequencies constantly. It's not your phone is sending out multiple signals constantly. It's receiving multiple signals constantly. You believe that about your telephone. People have told you that your telephone does that. But for some reason, you cannot believe that this being does exactly the same thing. We are constantly sending out signals. We are constantly getting signals back from all other transmitting beings. And transmitting beings means something that's alive. If you're alive, you're transmitting this signal, and you may want to call it a life signal. And it may be the province, it may be the location of life. and you are constantly getting signals from others. If you don't believe that, then you're not. If you're not, but don't believe that, it's like you are taking your radio set and hitting the off switch, which means, doesn't mean that you're not sending out the signals. It's true about this one too. You turn this thing off, it's still sending out signals. The only thing that keeps it from sending out signals is that you have to pull the battery. You have to kill it. Same with you. You're sending out signals, but they're very distorted because you believe that you're not. Signals are coming into you, but because you believe that they're not, you are completely ignoring them, or you're attributing them to something or someone else. Space aliens, poltergeist, your Aunt Myrtle trying to get in contact with you from the other side, et cetera, et cetera. What the so what the energy told me when I was sitting in the cave in the Himalayas some years ago was that when we come together, we can do anything. And anything was not like anything within reason, anything within the laws of physics. Laws of physics simply don't apply. What applies is this law of consciousness. And the law of consciousness is we are conscious beings and we can do this. We can take the latent power and turn it into active power. And when we do that, that's when we open up this amazing new age, new realm of possibility. What happens when human beings, in connection with all other beings, create the institutions of a world that works for all living beings? What happens when we, acting out of this guided pulse, guided direction, not my ego, but my guided direction. What happens when we start looking at how do we live with and for each other on this planet? The things that we can do exceed our capacity to envision at this point. All our vision is frozen. You've heard me say that before. And it's frozen because we believe that our future is technological, as opposed to our future being holonic, being the energy of the all, the energy of the coordinated all. So what does that mean? And I need to do an episode on what a holonic future looks like. Maybe I've just said what I'll be doing next week. But building bigger and taller buildings isn't part of it. Who cares? Building houses on the moon for a handful of people, for like maybe 10 or 15 people. Who cares? Why would we take the resources to do that? It's not just a technologically difficult task. It's a stupid task. It's like saying, let's take 100 people and have them hold their breath for 100 years at the bottom of the ocean. You can start working on that one, but so what? How about if we have a situation where every being that's hungry is fed, where the earth turns into a paradise, for all beings, not just for a handful of tourists who get to play around in there. Um, let me oh now everything I said was not what's on my script in front of me. So let me get to a couple of issues, a couple of things on my script, um, and call it a day. So I said, we don't want to be Christopher Columbus stumbling into a whole new hemisphere. We don't want to be um, doing things backward. We create something, then wonder what to do with it. Like we created um, microwaves as a byproduct of radio transmission. It says, oh, that's making things hot. Maybe we can heat up our vegetables with that. Um, uh, we should be as the Polynesian navigators who were sitting on the shore, ready to go to the next island, waiting for the Hellenic consciousness to tell them where it was and that the consciousness would guide them to where it was. As soon as the consciousness landed, they knew how far away it was, how much food they'd have to take with them, and it took exactly enough food to get there. What was waiting for them when they got there. And all this information is available to you as soon as we stop pretending that it's not. Um, right now, I know that there are people who have heard me and other people talk like this, and they're trying to figure out how can I get some of that holonic consciousness so that I will win. And that means that the holonic consciousness will be locked away from them completely because they don't understand what's going on. They don't understand that the only way that it wakes up is when you can say, we are one. So we've got a number of directions in front of us. One of the directions is the status quo. Everything's fine. Um, I don't have to act in the world. I can't act in the world. All these beings are too powerful. I'm angry at them, but I'm going to sit with the status quo because there's nothing I can do. Um, Second to that is what I call blissful ignorance. Um, I don't know and I don't care. Um, TV shows are pretty good this season. They're coming up with new foods every day that I can kill my body with. I don't care that other folks are not having fun at the party. I'm fine. The other thing, and people think of this as forward action, is the oppositional energy. I see the status quo, and the society I'm trying to create is the opposite of the status quo. So if Trump is in charge, we want to defeat Trump. If uh, the existing federal banking system does a particular thing, we want to defeat the banking system. And we think that we can, by creating simply the polar opposite of the things that we see, create a world that works for all. And that will not work. If you want me giving detailed reasons why it won't work, I'll be glad to do that. But believe me, the time that you're taking with that could be time better spent actually following a vision, and a vision that actually is a vision that encompasses all living beings. Now, I happen to have one. I've been talking about it for the past, let's say 30 years or so. And it's pretty simple. It's called creating a world that works for all living beings. You can borrow mine. I don't mind sharing. Um, You can even call it yours. You can say, I came up with this first. I was there 35 years ago talking about this stuff. Um, the bottom line is that if the world is actually working for all, that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how do all of us live in it? How do all of us move it forward? And how do all of us benefit from the results? How do all of us ameliorate the problems that are happening to others? And I feel like I just got wound up, and it's time for me to wind down and get to our catalyst meditation for today. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly catalyst meditation for this week. Welcome to those who have joined us today. Welcome to those who've been with us in the past on the catalyst meditation but can't join us today. One of the things that we do at the very beginning is for us to center ourselves. As you know, we're all having very different days so far, and we're going to try to get ourselves coordinated. Part of the coordination is doing a breathing exercise, and the and we synchronize our breathing with a breathing app. And I'm going to start that now. We'll do 3 minutes of synchronized breathing, followed by another minute of silent centering as you're centering on yourself and actively centering on the other. And so I'm going to invite you to breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, And if we can continue our silent centering for another minute or so. And if you can come back to our mutual center, we'll continue with our intentions. As the imaginal cells within the chrysalis come together to form the butterfly out of the disintegrated caterpillar cells, we come together to form a gateway for the meta-consciousness of the mind of Gaia. We act for ourselves personally, and we act as aspects of the One. The universe is one, is alive, and is conscious. Holonic consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe. Every atom in the universe holds consciousness. It is always with us. We're acknowledging this now because many humans have forgotten, and many humans have been in denial. We have to reawaken our connection to Mother Earth for the benefit of all living beings. And we acknowledge our connection to all beings. Our oneness includes all humans, including those who have gone before and those who are to come. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in the air. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in the water. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in the earth. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in our bodies. We are one with all beings that thrive on light, the beings of the plant realms. We are one with all meta-beings, including the earth as a living meta-being, air as a living meta-being, fire as a living meta-being, water as a living meta-being. We are one with all colony beings, meta-beings that are collections of solo beings, and that includes murmurations, colonies, schools, hives, pods, flocks, herds, migrations, harmonies, swarms, and other forms of colony beings. We especially acknowledge and honor those beings who are partnered and bound with us, including those beings we rely upon for food, for security, for assistance, and for love and companionship, and those beings who rely on us for the same. And we acknowledge all other forms of consciousness, known and unknown to us. Having acknowledged all beings, we blend all of our energies. May all who are part of Mother Earth be connected to and in perfect health, harmony, and balance with each other and with Gaia for the common good. We are in perfect physical health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect emotional health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect relational health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect mental health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect spiritual health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect holonic health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect spatial and temporal health, harmony, and balance. We are in the perfect place at the perfect time, in the perfect conditions, and with the perfect beings. So we'll set and we'll energize our declarations. We declare that the universe is one, is alive, and is conscious. We declare that holonic consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe. We declare that the earth and all earth beings are one. Together we form a meta-consciousness. We declare that all humans are one. One family, one species, one destiny. Separations are illusory. We awaken human consciousness from all illusions of separation. We declare that humans are colony beings. We deepen and expand our human murmurations, our human harmonies. We declare that Mother Earth is the ultimate governing principle, the way that humans govern their behavior on this planet, replacing all other forms of human governance. This is the way our behavior aligns with the will of the earth. We declare that Mother Earth is providing all necessary resources to achieve the vision of a world that works for all living beings. We declare that we are creating a political and economic system where all beings participate in it. All beings are in relationship with it. All beings own it. All beings benefit from it. And all beings govern it for the common good. So we'll now meditate within the holonic energy, within this energy of Mother Earth. We'll be listening for any messages that we may receive that we can bring back to others. We'll be making any personal requests that we may have. And we'll be deepening and expanding our human experience of our human murmurations, our human harmonies. We'll be doing this for the next 8 to 10 minutes, and we'll be starting now. And if we can return to our common center, we'll conclude with our inclusivity mantra. May I be well. May I be secure. May I be happy. May you be well. May you be secure. May you be happy. May we be well. May we be secure. May we be happy. And may all beings be well. May all beings be secure. May all beings be happy. And so it is. And so it shall be. And thank you for attending. And thank you for, thank you for us doing this, which benefits us, but also benefits the entire world, and probably way beyond that. And to the extent that it does, we're all welcome. The floodgates opened in that meditation, and I'm feeling flooded, but I'm going to restrain myself. And this is what I look like when I'm restrained. And let someone else say something else. One of the things I was flooded with was this images of what we humans look like when we are supporting and being supported by the earth. When we are acting as one of many beings that are operating for the common good, if you make the assumption that all of the beings in your gut right now, the trillions of beings that are in your guts, the billions of species that are in your guts right now, are working for the common good, then you get healthy, they get healthy, the entire microcosm of your being benefits from that. Even beings where in isolation they are not beneficial. Remember the exercise. Take your hand, put it on your throat. You are within half an inch of Streptococcus bacteria that lives constantly in your throat. It's always there. Remember, I said, that this consciousness is always with us. All of the aspects of the consciousness are always with us. You need Streptococcus bacteria in your throat. If you didn't need them, they wouldn't be there. Can they kill you or make you feel very, very sick? Yes, indeed, they can. And yes, indeed, they do. But the answer is not trying to get rid of them. The answer is to try to figure out how they fit into your ecology, your body ecology. Most of us don't even think about them. And that's okay, because they're going to do their thing for the whole, regardless of whether you're thinking about them or not. It's only when you are not considering them, when you think that you're the only you, whatever that means, like you're not 10 trillion beings in billions and billions of species, but I'm just here by myself and screw everybody else. Um, you'll find out that the screwing doesn't happen in that direction. So, um, I was keeping, I was holding the energy um, of um, all of us together and what all of us do and how all of us can function when we are all functioning together. Together doesn't mean at the same place, the same time. Together means we're all benefiting the whole. Um, so that was one of my thoughts. Oh, and I forgot, Esther, I was watching you populating the chat box. Um, and well, why don't you go ahead and say what you were going to say? Um, yeah.
Okay, well, what occurs to me is time is a social thing. I realized that this morning because, I was journaling along and just going along, me and God on my own time. I was timeless, basically, just thinking, being conscious and doing. And then all of a sudden, I got this like impulse about 7:27. I mean, not 7:27, but 2 minutes to seven. That's what I meant.
Mhm.
And I was reflecting on that as you were speaking, and I realized that time is a social construct. You know, and it marks a passage of events, and it helps us to coordinate it when we all agree to a meet at the same time. We're coordinating, and that I think is part of the holonic consciousness.
Um, and it is very disconcerting for those of us wearing wristwatches to try to coordinate with people who are acting in a timeless fashion.
Yeah.
I uh, in my time working in East Africa with the United Nations, we would try to have various meetings at various points in time. And I was told to get used to East African time. Um, I noticed for our time, for example, is within the Catalyst meditation, 3 to 4 minutes of time is fluid. There are people who will sign on 3 or 4 minutes before we're supposed to start. And there are people who sign in 3 or 4 minutes after we're supposed to start. And then in East Africa, it's like, what day are you talking about? Um, and going around. So at the time I was there, there weren't very many telephones, and so you had to go around to people's houses. We're going to meet on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Okay, Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Where? Okay, at my office. Um, you go around to 30 people, and some people are showing up on Tuesday.
Oh,
Um, some people are showing up on Thursday.
oh,
Some people are showing up Wednesday afternoon. And it's like, yeah, and there has to be a better way. And it's like, no, um, this is the way we do it. There, so for keepers, many keeper groups don't have a sense of time. or their sense of time is driven by the moon. How many moons ago? Um, they
They also use events like that was that was when we
yeah,
had Chief the dog.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, or the big wind, or that's when
Yeah, yeah.
such and such. The and all of those things are valid. I am constantly um, both amazed and annoyed. So we can find an annoyance spot for you here. Um, mhm, mhm. I was doing a little bit of research yesterday, and if I can't find it in the next click, um, okay. Even reading this is annoying me. So, the um, they're talking about the Polynesian. This is an AI overview talking about Polynesian navigators. They saw themselves as deeply connected to the ocean, using ancestral knowledge of stars, waves, winds, and birds to navigate vast distances. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Now, on one level, on the level of breakers looking at keepers, that's all true. Okay. From the point of view of the keepers themselves, you just did it. And all these impressions and everything is coming to you is all coming to you because it's all you. There's not that star out there. You are the star. It's not the seabirds. You are the seabirds. That
Mhm.
my notion of what I call I encompasses everything I need to get from here to there. Um, so when they are actually talking about themselves, we treat that as a metaphor. Okay. Um, so what did they say about themselves? They said, we are the compass. We are the compass. And what breakers hear is, oh, that's a very poetic way of saying that they're paying attention to the stars and the wind. Da, 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 da. It's like, no, no. Their entire being is the compass. They don't have or need a separate compass. We are the and and how do we get people to let go of the of point and field and see this whole thing a different way? Point is, I am one, and everything else outside of me is separate. Field is every blade of grass, every blade of wheat encompasses the entire field. There are no separations. And so we ask of the field, we'll get there one of these. Um, the navigator said that they followed star paths. Um, that got interpreted by the breakers researching them as cloud reflections, bird flight, wave patterns, etc., which is what breakers would be trying to use as a breaker to get across the ocean. Doesn't work. You can use all that stuff. You can have that stuff beamed into you, and it doesn't work. What works is when you are the one, when you are there. Say one more thing about that, and then I'm going to be encouraging us to say a little bit more, or I'm going to say what came to me as I was in the meditation. Um, so we know about this, we have studied one of the latent powers fairly extensively, and that latent power has to do with telepathy, where a thought in this meat muscle gets transmitted to somebody else's meat muscle, and they pick it up and they can say, "Oh, yes, I was about to call you." Um, um, when the Polynesian wayfinders are sitting on the shore in meditation, sometimes for days, waiting for the knowledge to come to them of where they're going and how to get there. While they're there, they are talking to dolphins, the masters of the water, and they are indicating they far shore here. Dolphins say, yeah, sure, okay. I mean, from our point of view, this is boring because they've done it for a few million years. But yeah, you want to get over there, okay. And they can use the dolphin's eyesight and their sonar and all of the other equipment that the dolphin has to project themselves over there. They probably don't need anything other than the dolphins. But then they are also one with all the birds. They're also one with all of the other fish, to the extent that each fish has a consciousness that can be um, accessed. Dolphins with a consciousness superior to ours they can definitely access um, um, and get to wherever you need to get to. Um, uh, One more thing, and say this as the crows just left. My crows just left. Um, People who are researching crows are constantly floored by their intelligence and their problem-solving abilities. And they're constantly amazed by it because they're looking at each crow as an individual being. So they're seeing crow, 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 crow. Um, when, from the crow's point of view, if there is a flock um, that consists of 100,000 winged beings, that's one crow. And their perspective is that as far out as that flock will go or congregate. Um, um, one of the many hypotheses I have of why the crows are flocking on 14th Avenue between 7:45 and 8:05 is their daily coordination of that. It's kind of like waking up and yawning, like, okay, all the limbs are working. We got it. We got we got our act together, and now let's get out of here. Okay. Let's get ourselves completely awake here. Um, if you look at the brain capacity of an individual crow, um, it's not as big as this rock.
Right.
Okay. So how it can do sophisticated tasks with that much brain power, well, it's impossible So they get more brain power. They're using all of their brain power, and they might be using ours. So the experience that I had, and since this is going out to beings that didn't hear what I said at the Catalyst meditation yesterday, let me repeat that really briefly. When I walked out of my apartment yesterday, I was taking food out to feed the crows as part of my ongoing experiment of being um, in crowdom. Um, and from the time my foot hit my first step, they started acting and interacting with me differently. Um, they could sense that I had food. And most importantly, the seagulls, whom I rarely see in the morning, seagulls were right on top of it. And they got the majority of the food. Um, and um, so they are using my brain cells. I'm sorry. They are using my perception cells, which may involve my brain, but may involve other entities. Um, okay, last thing I'm going to say for the next couple of seconds. Um, you remember me talking about murdering shrimp. And if you don't, I will tell you about murdering shrimp. Um, shrimp, freshwater shrimp are uh, live in freshwater. Brine shrimp live in brine. Nobody lives in distilled water. So you take a brine shrimp and you put it in distilled water. It's amazingly painful for them, and they die a horrible death. So breaker scientists use that to figure out how they operate. So they take, let's say, a cupful of brine shrimp, throw them in distilled water, and they will act as though they are in agony and then die. The big tank of brine shrimp, who are happily swimming away, while these brine shrimp over here are in agony, they are also in agony. They are acting as though all of them got thrown into distilled water. If, though, you create a mechanism that dips the brine shrimp, that takes human beings out of the picture, dips the brine shrimp out of the brine tank, drops them into distilled water, they will still suffer and die. But the shrimp in the big tank will not. They won't react. So it's not the shrimp seeing them. It's not the other shrimp experiencing anything. They are experiencing human beings. Okay. So that gives us information, and we should be able to use that information to do something, to make our world better in some way. Okay, I am amazingly done. Um, and Esther, I see you are amazingly unmuted. And if you got something for us, you're gonna amazingly say it.
Okay, I'll try. I don't think of myself as saying amazing things, but it is interesting that they've done studies on birds' perception, and they found that the right brain is tuned into like the predators behind them that might possibly swoop down, while their left brain is sighting the little bits of food that are on the ground. So they they operate with both field and point. I
Mhm.
mean, and it matches what scientists have said about our right brains and left brains, that our right brains are more of a matrix and our left brains run on linear uh, a series of linear points, a linear series of points
Mhm.
from point to point to point.
Yeah. And this mapping, yeah, every time I see something or I get a piece of information, I keep saying like this is just amazing how um, form follows function. Um, I thought until recently that termites and ants were um, cousins, same species, different genus or something like that. And they're not even close to each other, but their body type is perfectly suited for the environment that they're in, which makes them look just like each other. Okay. And so our and I realized this when I understood, and again, this is like a matter of a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a couple of days ago, that termites are food for ants.
Mm.
And I didn't, um, I'm watching a uh, study on termites, and if I can find it, I'll put it in the goodie box, and I'll make a note to do that. Now, the fact that I'm making a note doesn't mean it's going to get in there, but at least you see me noting it here. Um, but they were um, the breaker narrator is looking at it from his perspective. And what he's saying is there's a constant war between ants and termites. And it shows this column of ants going into the termite mound and all the termites defenses coming up. And first the ants have a superior technique or whatever, and they go in and they take as many ants as they take as many termites as they want and take them back into their nest and eat them or kill them and put them in their fodder farms to make more fungus that the ants do eat. Now, we don't say that there's a constant war between humans and cows, and we're at war with the cows, and we've got to kill the cows before the cows kill us. It's like, yeah, it's our food, you know, like we're at constant war with wheat, and so we've got to kill that wheat before the wheat could cover the earth and we'd all die. It's like, no, that's our food.
Yeah, like aphids.
And,
Ants
right.
ants raise aphids.
Ants raise aphids. Ants don't raise aphids to eat them, which is why they don't eat them. They raise the aphids for,
That
we
sweet stuff.
call it honeydew. And we dress it up for them, and the aphids appreciate it. The ants appreciate it. It's a living cycle. The same thing is true with the termite mound. The ants go in, they take as many termites as they need, and they leave. Um, they don't take all of the termites. It's not in their interest to do that. Um, we are the ones that do monocrops, where we put wheat down and then put down chemicals that kill absolutely everything else. Everything else the wheat needs to become strong and healthy, etc. We kill it because of our ignorance. And at some point in time, we're going to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Um, or all that behavior will stop us. One of the two is true. Um, okay, let us let me get you to say one more thing. Um, you made a statement about brains receiving and sending signals. So you want to expound on that at all before I expound?
Sure, sure. I learned through the revelation that our our brains don't actually produce mind. What we The mind is part of the circuits of our creative mother spirit in the universe. And she broadcasts mind for us to use. They
Mhm,
say mind ministers to us.
mhm,
And there's 7 levels, which correlate pretty much with the chakras,
mhm,
the patterns also in the and certain tarot decks,
mhm.
with the lowest being, survival, and the highest being interface with the cosmic mind.
Okay. And you used the word revelation, and remember, there'll be people watching this who don't know what what you mean by that. So you may just put on for the record, you may want to say that this is part of the Urantia stuff that you've
Mm-hmm.
been studying. Okay.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Um, I think that we I think that Descartes was doing the best he could when he said, I think, therefore I am. That is a very, very partial way of looking at how reality works.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, someone smarter than me said that the ego is a thought that thinks about itself.
Yeah.
And that's why we identify with an ego. That's why there's a thing called an I, and that identifies with this thing that we call an ego, um, where the people who don't have all those constructs can let all that stuff go and can literally be right here, right now, with all other beings. Um, and letting go of that ego is a death process. You've got to actually invite it to die, but the ego says that you are your ego, so therefore you are dying, so you're going to be the ego says, I'm going to protect you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not protecting you, it's a thought trying to protect itself. And so I um, say, let that go. I did an ego death, I guess maybe 40 years ago, and more than, oh goodness. Um, and you have to keep doing it because it keeps coming back in another form. Like, okay, I'm ego 201. Um, and I'm the good ego. But letting it go means that you can be in connection with a lot of other thoughts and a lot of other realities and a lot of other modes of being and recognize that all of it is I. All of it is you. All of it is exactly what we need. Let me say one word about oppositional energy. Um, I think we have to keep reminding ourselves that just because something is oppositional to us, like with streptococcus in our throats, Um, um, I talk about streptococcus in our throats because if I were trying to illustrate the E. coli bacteria, I'd be grabbing my butt.
Yikes.
So, so yeah, streptococcus in our throats. Um, there are times when we need oppositional energy to achieve a purpose. So if we have, I just happen to have a prop here. If we have scissors, this is whoever invented scissors is we should take our hats off to them if we're wearing hats. Um, you take two knives, you put a fulcrum point on them, and they become immensely useful. And the two knives, each one is cutting in an opposite direction. And when they combine their energy, they become very, very useful. Um, Taking one of the oppositional forces and saying, you're the bad one, we're going to take you out of here and just break it off. Well, then you have a broken pair of scissors, or you have what's called a knife. Knives are useful. We use them every day, but it's not the same as scissors when you need scissors. So um, uh, when we see the oppositional forces in action in our own society, rather than saying one of them is good and the other one is bad, the question is, where are we going? Which brings us back around to the talk that we're doing. And how do we achieve this? Where are we going? Um, and how do we do this while letting go of ego and letting go of negative oppositional energy that doesn't get you anywhere? Okay, folks, I am going to go, and I am looking forward to us doing this again at some other point in time, and look forward to talking with, I guess, us tomorrow morning. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.